Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I hope your day is starting off well. I hope your morning is starting off well. I hope you got up and poured into yourself before you went ahead and poured into the world. I hope that all of your dreams, all of your goals, all of your aspirations, all of your intentions that was set for today come into fruition. We're going to be talking about habits today, all right? Habits are very personal to me, okay? Because habits were something that I use to overcome depression, right? Creating habits is something that I use to overcome depression. And a lot of people don't understand is what your habits are, it can dictate or it can let me know who you truly are. If you sit in front of me and tell me what your day-to-day habits, I can almost pinpoint where you are in your life, how you feeling with yourself, what's going on, and it tells me majority about who you are. And a lot of people don't understand that our life is based off of habits. We're habitual creatures, right? Humans are habitual creatures. We need habits in order for us to have a sustainable life, right? But a lot of us don't understand the importance of being able to create good habits to create a better life, right? A lot of us don't even understand that what we're doing is called a habit. So like, you know how you get off work and you get on TikTok and you just scrolling, that's a habit that you do every day that you created, right? That's a habit that you created every day for you to get on TikTok and scroll after work. You know, when you get off work or before you go to work in the morning, you got to stop to Starbucks and get you a coffee. That's a habit that you created for yourself, right? That made you feel good, right? That's cool. But if we can understand that we are habitual creatures, if we can understand that most of everything that we do is habitual, I believe that we can actually put more intentions behind our habits. So drop in the comments some habits that you want to, get rid of, or some habits that you may want to add onto your list. So I actually use habits to overcome depression, right? Because everything is accumulation of habits. Your life is an accumulation of habits, right? So this big ball that we have is accumulation of habits that we live by day to day. We get up in the morning, the what is called your alarm sets off. You get up immediately. That's a habit that was created, right? You get dressed, you put on your clothes, you go to work. That's a habit that was created for you, right? So there is our life is accumulated of so many habits, and if we learn how to use the habits to our best ability, I truly believe that we'll be able to learn how to have a better life, right? A sustainable life, a will to live, because a lot of us are just living. We're just living bit by bit, day by day. Really don't want to be here. Let's just be honest. Some of us really don't want to be here. But if we start to look at our life with intentional lens, right? And start to look at our life, okay, what can I do to help me change my life? And the most simplest thing that you can start at is creating better habits. Creating better habits is where we're going to start, right? When I found myself at the end of 2019 completely depressed, wanted to unalive myself, debilitating anxiety and panic attack, I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to be a wife. I didn't want to be a co-worker. I didn't want to be anything. I wanted to leave this earth, right? But I had to figure out, what can I do to make myself just feel better for just a moment of joy, right? Because I knew that it wasn't, at that moment I felt like I would never be happy forever. I would never feel happiness more than a second. But I was okay with just feeling happiness or joy for just a moment, because then I knew that it was possible. If I could feel joy just for a moment, just for a second, just for a brief moment, then my body know that it's possible, right? So I had to create different habits to help me overcome depression. My depression habits was staying in bed all day, scrolling on social media, closing the curtains, don't want to get up, right? Those are habits that I created. And a lot of us don't understand that depression is also an accumulation of habits that we created for ourselves. And every habit can be destroyed, or every habit can be remade into something that you want. You're not doomed forever. So now that we know that everything that we do, now that we know that humans are habitual creatures, we live off of habits for the longest of times, okay? I don't even think there's a time that we have lived on this here realm where their habits haven't been a part of our existence. We've been living and we are habitual creatures. But what most of us don't do is that we don't pay attention to the habits that we create in our life. And then we wonder why 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the habits creation that we have created, right, or that we have allowed to stay, right, have made us a life that we don't want. We unhappy, we depressed, we full of anxiety, we had a job that we don't want to be at, we with a person that we don't want to be with, all because it feels familiar, right? Remember how they say we stay complacent because it feels safe, it feels familiar. That habit feels familiar, right? That habit that we created or that has been created in our life feels familiar. That person that you have been with, that's a habit that we have created and that we consistently go through the loop of a habit, right? So if we can change that, if we can understand that, okay, this is just a habit, right? And I'm not saying breaking a habit is easy. I'm not saying that it's the most simplest thing, right? I'm not saying that, because if you have had a habit for years, right? If you had this one particular habit, let's say for the last 3 years, you went to Starbucks before you went to work, right? And you've been doing that for 3 years consistently, right? That's going to be a little difficult to break, right? That's going to be a little difficult to recreate another habit. But if we understand where it starts from, right? Just like with binging and addiction and things like that, we understand that habits are created by us. So if we create habits, that means that we can create better habits to help us to do better in life. So this is the thing that I want you to write down. I want you to get a piece of paper. I want you to get a pen, right? And I want you to write down what are 3 to 5 habits that you have right now in your life that you are now aware of. What are those 3 or 5 habits that you have right now in your life that you are aware of? Put it down on paper. Whether it be good habits, whether it be bad habits. I don't care what type of habits it is. Put it down on paper, okay? Write it down 1, 2, 3, and number it. Put it down on paper. What are habits that I currently have, right? Now, this is going to be something that's going to be interesting because I tell a lot of my clients this, so I'm giving it to you guys right now. The second part of the paper, you're going to give some space in between. The second part of the paper, I just want you to write a short description of how you want your life to be. Like, what are some things that you want in your life currently, whether that's more money, whether that's more friends, whether that's a relationship, whether that's another job, whatever. Just give me a short description at the bottom of that paper, right? And you could write this down or you could do it later, but doing it now would be best, right? So that at that bottom, you're going to go ahead and write a description of what you want your life to look like. What does that look like for you? Right? Like I said, more money. It could be a better relationship. It could be a different job. It could be going to school, whatever, just a short description, right? And then you're going to turn that paper around. And in the back of that paper, you're going to write 5 habits that you have to create in order to live this life that you want to have, right? So for example, if you want a different job, habits that you have to create is you have to be able to fill out job applications. That's a habit. You have to be able to fill out, you know what, I need to fill out between 5 to 10 applications a day, between the hours of 12 and 2. I need to, if you want to get in relationships, okay, I need to make sure I put myself out there. So maybe I need to go to this particular place on this particular day. Let's create habits to hone in to be able to have the life that we desire. We have to start getting to the point where we stop allowing people, places, and things to make us feel like we have no power to change our life. Because we are the only ones that can change it. We are the only people that can change our life, and we are the only people that can destroy our life. So let's go ahead and create those habits so that we can have a better life, right? And like I said, with me being someone that was depressed, right, that didn't want to be here anymore, that had debilitating anxiety, no one understood because I was always the person that everyone came to. I was always everybody's therapist. I was always everybody's friend. I was always somebody that everybody could count on. And at that one moment that I couldn't be there, everybody was lost. They didn't know what was going on. But I noticed that my life was an accumulation of habits that I created. In that moment, my depression was habits that I created for myself. Whether they was good or bad, whether the habits was good or bad, it was still habits that I created for myself. Right? So I want you to go ahead and get your pen and paper, and I want you to write down the habits that you want to create. Okay? The habits that you want to create, and then I'm going to give you something else here. On that same paper, on the back of that paper, you're going to write down the habits that you want to create. In the bottom of that paper, on the back of that paper, I'm going to give you this simple system of creating a habit, right? So it's going to be the habit that you want to create, right? And the habit goes into a loop, right? The habit that you want to create, you're going to have something that's going to help you go into that habit, right? So for example, you know how when your alarm go off, and when your alarm go off, you're supposed to get up, right? That's something that initiated the habit, right? So we're going to have something that's going to initiate our habit, whether that's an alarm to remind us that, hey, we have to do this particular thing. And then we go straight into the habit, right? And the last thing, I want you to find something that you can do to reward yourself for doing that habit. I hope you caught on. So you're going to need something that's going to initiate the habit, right? Whether that's an alarm, whether that's a reminder, whatever that is, something that's going to initiate the habit, right? You're going to go directly into the habit. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to reward yourself for doing the habit. What does that reward look like? Whether that's giving yourself some, a chocolate bar, or whether that's, talking to a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. What does that reward look like for you? Some people, the reward, all they need is the ample amount of dopamine. Some of us, we do things that we're supposed to do. Like, for example, I'm supposed to get up and go for a walk. When I get up and go for my 30-minute walk and I come back, that excitement that I feel, that accomplishment that I feel, that happiness that I feel, that is my reward. My body knows that it's a reward. So guess what? Your body going to want to continue to do those things because it wants to continue to feel those good feelings, those good emotions, right? So just the emotion itself is enough for me. But for some people, especially for people that has been in bad habits for a very long time, though, that's not enough, right? So you're going to create something to help you have a reward at the end of you doing your habits. Remember, we are humans. There are habitual creatures. If you don't learn the art of paying attention and setting intentional habits, you're going to be controlled by the habits that you already have in your life that you know that's not working. The scrolling on social media all day, you know that's not working, right? We are constantly being fed, right? We are constantly being in a habitual loop, right? You are constantly being in a habit loop, whether you see that or not. When you get up in the morning, you go to work, that's a habit. When you brush your teeth, that's a habit. When you eat your food, that's a habit. Everything that you do is a habit. So if you're not more intentional, you'll be controlled by the bad habits in your life. And then you'll wonder 5, 6, 7 years from now, why the hell have I not made any change? Why there's no difference in my life? Why haven't I improved? No one would tell you that most times, in order to make change, we have to change our habits. In order to make change, you have to change your habits. Not only you have to change your mindset, but you have to change your habits. How can I create better habits? How can I dedicate myself to better habits? And I just gave you the habit loop. You're going to have something that's going to initiate the habit. Whether that's an alarm, whether that's having your clothes set out for you, whatever that initiation looks like. Then you're going to go directly into the habit. Do the actual work. Do what you say you're going to do. And then the third thing is you're going to have some type of system of reward. Like I said, for me, just the feeling of the reward, like feeling accomplished, like that gives me like a dopamine hit there, right? It makes me feel good that, damn, I did what I said I was going to do. I showed up for myself. I accomplished this 30-minute walk. Like, whoa, okay, cool. And I always take a picture, right? And I share it with my social media family. That's also a bit of a dopamine hit. That, look, I said I was going to go ahead and do a walk today. I went ahead and walked today. Look at my map of me walking for 30 minutes. And guess what? They like, woohoo, good job. That gives me extra dopamine hit, right? So if we learn the loop of habits, if we learn how to create good habits in our life, right? If we learn how to stay dedicated to creating better habits, I truly believe having better habits is going to create a better life for you. Your accumulation of habits truly show me who you are. All you have to do is give me a paper of habits that you engage into every single day, and I will let you know exactly where you are in your life, how you're feeling your life, and it lets you know who you are. Whether we want to believe it or not, our habits are a direct reflection of who we internally are. Our habits are created from things that we believe about ourselves, things we have told ourselves, things that people have told us, right? There's a habit of, and a lot of people say, you know, I don't believe in myself. No, you have a habit of not believing in yourself. Oh, I don't love myself. No, you have a habit of not loving yourself. Don't make it so personal. You have a habit of doing these things. And now that you know that it's a habit, right? It's habitual. You have the wherewithal, you have the power to recreate new habits. And I like to simplify things to make people have a better chance at taking action. Because when it feels so complicated, right? And drop a 1 in the comments if what I'm saying is true. When it feels so complicated, most of us will not do it. If I get on here and started talking about the scientific backings of habits and how it created and how they tested rats on different habits, like if I started going into all of these different things that I learned over the last couple of years, you'll look at me like, okay, all right. So being able to simplify information and being able to give you the simple information, the simplest thing that I can tell you is that the accumulation of your habits is who you are. Now that we know that you are a habitual creature, now that we know that you engage in habits all throughout your day, now that we know these things, now that the second step is, okay, if I know that I created these habits, if I know that I'm engaging in habits, right? This is a habitual thing for me. I know that I could recreate better habits. For example, smokers, right? For example, the people that are smoking, they want to quit. They have to replace their smoking habit, right? With something else, whatever that looks like. My bad for coughing, y'all. I am not feeling too well, but I still wanted to show up today because it's important to do what I say I'm going to do. Even though I feel sick, okay? Even though my head is hurting, okay? Even though I feel bad all up in here, I still wanted to show up today because it's important to show up. Okay, it's important to show up for myself. It's important to show up for my mission. It's important to show up for you guys. It's important to show up regardless. I could have said, you know what, I'm not going to show up for live today because I don't feel well, which I don't. I'm up here coughing with y'all, trying to talk, going against I could barely breathe, and I'm sitting up here talking to you, right? And it's because I am dedicated to my mission. I am dedicated to my goals. I am dedicated to my aspirations. And despite of, I'm going to show up. Despite of, I'm going to show up. Not only for you, but for me. Because guess what? This is a habit I'm trying to create. The habit I'm trying to create is get up to social media on TikTok and do a live or on YouTube, whatever. Do a live, do a video so that I can inspire you to change your mind, body, and spirit, right? Even though there's things that make me not want to get on live. This morning I had so many excuses. I don't feel good. My head is hurting. I shouldn't show up this way. I barely want to get out of bed. But we have to understand that that's the way that we are. That's the way that humans are created. We try to do things that we try not to do things that are new. So we would create excuses, right? To stop ourselves from doing things that we know that we are supposed to do. So this is a habit that I'm trying to create. Right? Creating a habit of getting up, showing up on social media, giving inspiration, inspiring people to be better, mind, body, and spirit, regardless of what's going on. And I could have gave myself so many excuses. I'm telling you, the excuses could have been long. I am like, between every breath, I can barely breathe because I'm trying to talk to you guys, okay? And I know I'm going to be hoarse as hell when I get off this video. But it's okay because I'm dedicated to what I'm really dedicated to, which is my mission. And I want to know, what are you dedicated to? Most of us are going through life aimlessly. We have no aim. We don't know why we're living. We don't know why we're doing the things that we do. We are living through life with no knowledge, and we are okay with that. We're living through life with no awareness, and we are okay with that. We're going through life with no aim, and we are okay with that. We have become accustomed to be okay with that. And that's not okay with me. Because in order for you to know what to do, you have to know where you're going. You have to at least know your first step. And then you have to be able to take action. Most of us create, and I do this, I do this too. Most of us create goals that are so big, right? That we know that we can't hit that goal, but we did that to sabotage ourselves. Right? Internally, subconsciously, we did that to sabotage ourselves because we know if we hit that goal, it comes with a new level of responsibility. So, for example, most of us will create habits, right, that are just outlandish, right? I want to get up and let's say go to the gym for 2 hours a day, but you've never been to a gym a day in your life, right? So things like that, and your body will not do that, right? Because it doesn't feel like something that makes sense, right? So creating smaller habits so that you can create those bigger habits. So you know what? I'm going to get up and go walking for 20 minutes. That's doable. You could do that. You have an aim. Get up and go walking for 20 minutes. Have your clothes out the night before so that you could get up, put your clothes on, and walk immediately out the house. So these are ways that you're going to create your habits. You're going to start small. Your habits truly tells me who you are as a person. It tells me where you are in your life currently. Just let me know what your habits currently are, and it will let me know where you are in your life and who you truly are. Because your habits have a direct reflection of who you are. And there are some habits that a lot of us have, even people that are living their best life, right? There are habits that we always want to change and improve. And guess what? We have the power to do so. We have the power to change our life by changing our habits. Life is created by two things, your habits and your mindset. And most times when you change your mindset, you create better habits. It's like simultaneously, it just happens, right? When you improve your mindset, you improve your habits. Because once your mindset changes, you won't be able to sustain the bad habits that you currently have. It will feel uncomfortable, almost unbearable. So when you change your mindset, you simultaneously change your habits. But those two things is an accumulation of what a person is all about, who you truly are. An accumulation of your habits and your mindset. Those two things are the most important things. If you can get a control of your habits, get control of your mindset, you will have a better life. You know? If you could get control of what you're thinking in your mind, if you get control of your thoughts, and being in control of your thoughts, and then learning how to control your habits, or learning how to create better habits, learning how to create habits that's going to benefit you now and in the long run. Those two together is like bread and butter. Everything else is glitter. Everything else is really not needed. Because those two are also together will be a manifestation of a better life. Because once you start thinking better, once your habits are better, energetically, you are an energetic match for greater things, for better things, for more money, more love, more support, more prosperity, right? Abundance in every aspect of your life. Once you change your mindset and then change your thoughts, change your mindset and then change your habits, you have now made yourself an energetic match for a better life. There's no way around it. Now, instead of just talking about what you want, energetically, you attract it, you become a magnet. Now you're becoming a magnet for better things. Now you're becoming a magnet for good things to come into your aura, because now you are exuding that energy, because you have changed your thoughts and you have changed your habits. And those two things, honestly, is where you start at. It's going to be your bread and butter. You don't need nothing else whatsoever. And don't let nobody make you believe that. Your bread and butter is going to be your mindset and your habits. Once you change your mindset, most times it changes your habits. But if you can get both of those in control, you become a magnet for great things. You become a magnet for things becoming overflow in your life. You become a magnet for all the things that you always wanted, because now you are an energetic match. Now you are an energetic match for those things that you have been wanting. So I'm going to leave you with that. And if you're looking for habits to help you to become better, right? Habits that you could dedicate yourself to because you don't know what habits to create. That's okay. That's normal. I didn't either. It took me years to create habits that worked for me. These particular habits helped me overcome depression. So these habits I wrote down in an ebook. And I want you to go to the top of my profile. It's called The Habitual Journey. It's only $5 today. And I want you to go ahead and buy the ebook and dedicate yourself to those habits. It's about 5 or 6 habits. And you will start to see your life in a better light within the next 30 days if you dedicate yourself every single day. I put my heart into it. Now I'm going to go ahead and get out of here so I can go drink some tea. Because like I told y'all guys, I am not feeling well. But I'm glad that I was able to show up, do what I said I was going to do, and be an example of what it is that I teach about, what it is that I tell you guys about. It's best to be an example and show you versus then tell you. Now, see you later.